Yo, what is up guys? Ethan here, back in another video, and today we return with college football predictions. As today we'll be looking over Alabama. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And Alabama this upcoming season is definitely going to be a big thing to watch. Last season, Alabama had a somewhat of a disappointing year as they did miss not only the SEC championship game, but also the college football playoff. And even though they still had studs like Bryce Young and Will Anderson, they were still disappointing last year. Now, both of those guys were top picks in the NFL draft, and tons of guys from Alabama, matter of fact, were in the NFL draft. And usually you can say, oh, it's going to be okay because Alabama has tons of depth. This year, it's somewhat of a concern, a matter of fact, especially at the quarterback position. The quarterback battle right now is Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe, and they actually brought in Tyler Buchner because Tommy Rees is the new offensive coordinator, as he was at Notre Dame, Buchner was at Notre Dame. Makes sense in itself. No guy has made a clear-cut jump to be the QB1 to start off the season. And from what I'm hearing, Ty Simpson is the leader right now. I think Jalen Milroe could potentially be a better option, a matter of fact, based on what we saw last year, especially versus Arkansas. But I think this quarterback situation is not going to be good for at least this season. Next year, they can make a big jump and they'll be good. But this offense is going to be a very big concern, and it's something to look out for. You have a top-tier offensive line still, as it's led by J.C. Latham. And you do have some good running back depth, like Jace McClellan and a true freshman in Justice Haynes. Roydell Williams could potentially make an impact as well. But this receiver core is not really that good. Well, it's good, but there's no clear-cut number one guy. Jermaine Burton, Ja'Cory Brooks, Isaiah Bond, these guys are not making big-time jumps. Alabama is known for the crazy receivers they had over the years. None of these guys are on that part, and especially with the somewhat questionable quarterback situation right now, with no clear-cut guy heading into the fall, it's going to be definitely something to look out for, and this offense is just plain out not going to be as good. And I think Alabama is going to take more of a Michigan approach offensively, where you have really good running back depth and you have a great offensive line. Why not ground and pound the ball? Now, can that work in the SEC? I'm not sure, but we've seen it in the past with like Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry. Alabama can do it, especially under Nick Saban, but I'm not sure how effective it's going to be immediately. But Justice Haynes, in my opinion, is going to have a pop-off year. He's going to break out as a true freshman. That's my bold take for this Alabama team. But defensively, this is where all the goods are for Alabama. You still have great players like Kool-Aid McKinstry and Dallas Turner. You have some guys coming in. Tresman Marshall was a Georgia guy. He's probably going to be a starting linebacker. You have a true freshman and Caleb Downs, probably going to be your starting free safety this season. And you also have guys returning like Chris Braswell, Jaheim Otis, Malachi Moore, and etc. So this Alabama defense is very good. They're going to be one of the top defenses in all college football this year. But it's just going to depend for Alabama how that offense is going to gel, and if they do gel, how quickly it's going to be. Because this schedule for Bama is tough this year. The first game we can get out of the way. You will beat Middle Tennessee week 1, but that Texas game week 2 is going to be crazy. But if you remember last year, Alabama went on the road in Austin and barely escaped with the W. And it was very controversial, especially since Quinn Ewers was hurt for half the game. And Texas could have very easily won that game. And this is going to be a close game. I don't care what people say. And Texas, in my opinion, does have a realistic chance of going into Tuscaloosa and upsetting Bama on their home field. But I just can't see Nick Saban allowing that, especially at home. This is going to be a very close game. But I'm going to take Bama to barely beat Texas at home. Next game, you will beat USF on the road. I have no clue how USF pulled that off, but Bama will beat you. And next game, you host Ole Miss. And if this was in Oxford, I could potentially see an upset. But I'm just very skeptical about this Ole Miss team. I think they're going to be very inconsistent this year, as some weeks they look like a fantastic team, and other games they look like a barely bowl eligible team. I'm going to take Bama to beat them at home. Next game, you head into Starkville to face Mississippi State. And this Mississippi State team, I'm not sure how they're going to look this year. They're going to be trying to revamp that entire offense under Zach Arnett. It's going to be more of a spread run offense compared to Mike Leach's air raid offense. I think it's going to take a year for Mississippi State to get everything gelled together. And I'm just think Alabama's going to whoop them like they usually do, if we're being honest. Give me Bama on the road. But at Texas A&M is going to be a crazy game. 2 years ago, Texas A&M shocked the world and defeated Bama at home. Last year, A&M barely lost. And this is going to be a close game. Jimbo Fisher always seems to have Nick Saban's number, and I think Texas A&M is going to be much improved for this upcoming season, and because of that, I'm going to take Texas A&M to win this game. I think Texas A&M has a top tier defense in all college football. Jimbo Fisher makes sure that defense is really good each and every single year, and with all the question marks offensively for Alabama, I think A&M is going to be able to exploit that. And even though A&M's offense might be a little shaky at times, I think their offense will somehow be better than Alabama's, just because their defense is going to be able to make a few stops. Now, this is going to be a close game either way, just like the Texas game, but just because it's at Kyle Field, I'm going to take the Aggies at home. Next game, you host Arkansas, and Arkansas is going to be like Ole Miss in my opinion. They're going to be up and down all year, and I'm going to take Alabama to win this game here. Next game, you host Tennessee, and Tennessee had a fantastic year last year, and they barely escaped with a huge upset last year. The college football world was raving that Tennessee's back, and I think this is going to be another close game. Bama, as you can tell by the schedule, I think they're going to have multiple close games, and this is a 50-50 game, and just because Bama's home, I'm going to take Alabama to win this game. Then you head into a bye week, and then you host LSU, and probably your biggest game all season. If you looked at my LSU predictions, you already know what my answer is, or my pick is. I'm going to take LSU to go on the road and defeat Alabama. I think LSU's offense is going to be amazing this year, and I think that defense is going to be much improved. And I just think LSU is a potential playoff candidate. And this is going to be another year that Brian Kelly defeats Nick Saban. Give me LSU to win on the road. Next game, Bama goes on the road at Kentucky. And after just losing a potentially embarrassing game to LSU, I think Alabama's going to unleash all their rage. And they're going to whoop Kentucky on the road. I don't even think this is going to be close. Kentucky's never really even been close to Bama. And yes, Bama might have a down year. I just think Alabama's going to manhandle Kentucky because they just lost to LSU. They already lost to A&M. They're going to take out all the rage in this game. Alabama's going to win on the road in Lexington. Next game versus Chattanooga, you're going to win that game. Alabama heads into the Iron Bowl versus Auburn with a 9-2 record. And this is going to be a close game. It's in Jordan-Hare. It doesn't matter how good or bad Auburn or Alabama is. If it's in Jordan-Hare, the game's going to be a classic, it seems. This is going to be a close game. Auburn is going to be a very questionable team, as we're really not even sure how they're going to be for this upcoming year. This is going to be a close game no matter what, in my opinion, just because it's a rivalry game. But I just think Alabama defensively is going to be able to win this game by themselves. And Alabama is going to take a close game on the road, as Alabama finishes the year 10-2 with their only losses on the road at Texas A&M and at home versus LSU. Now, if you look at this schedule, Alabama has multiple games they can very easily lose. I think Texas might even match up better versus Alabama, so you can lose versus Texas. You can lose at A&M like I predicted. You could probably lose at home versus Tennessee, depending on how that offense and defense is. You can lose at LSU like I predicted. You can lose at Auburn because it's a rivalry game. And maybe even you can lose at Kentucky. I think Alabama matches up very well versus Kentucky, but just because it's in Lexington, anything's possible. So that could also be a potential loss. And who knows, maybe Mississippi State's better than we thought, and that's a win for Mississippi State at home. I think this Alabama team's going to be this is going to be a stepping stone year for Alabama, I'll say. As next year, you're going to have all the young guys get better, like Caleb Downs, Justice Haynes, whoever the quarterback is, if that is Ty Simpson or Jalen Milroe. They'll have an entire season under their belt. And I just think Alabama, this is going to be a stepping stone year. If you say they're 9-3, I wouldn't be mad. I don't think this team goes undefeated, but I do think your ceiling is 11-1 if the quarterback does perform better than people anticipate. But I think the most realistic record for the Crimson Tide this year is 10-2. So what's your predictions for Alabama? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and like always, have a good day. Peace out.